does not underestimate the importance of being curious. Be curious, be well-read, be self-aware.
Congratulations. When I saw the news, I screamed, right? Watching your ascension to become the Director General of the Petroleum Commission here in Gambia is not just a win, right, for you, Cany. It's a win for every African woman who has ever been told she's too technical, she's too ambitious, or too young to lead. So congratulations once again. Just for context on who is sitting across the room from you, my name is Linda Obi, and I'm the founder and Chief Empowerment Officer here at Zuri. We are an ecosystem of over 1,000 senior female executives, founders, aspiring board members across the continent. We don't just do networking, we do deals, right? We do structure, we do capitalization, and anything that propels us from point one to the next is where you will find a Zuri Circle woman. And that's what brings us here, right? Every month, Zuri Circle selects one woman to be our standard bearer. We define a standard bearer as a woman who demonstrates absolute sovereign authority. She isn't just at the table, she's the one setting the table, right? So when we looked at the energy landscape in West Africa, all roads led to you. Your journey is the exact blueprint we want to show the world. So for the month of February, we are honoring you, ma'am. Today is a 6th piece. We are just having a conversation to capture your essence for this documentary. Don't worry about being corporate perfect. I know you got it, right? Just speak your truth. Are you ready?
As I was at our country's independence celebration, I remember reading it quickly when it came in, and I'm like, okay, at least I have a fair idea of what it is about. I haven't gone back to it, so you're going to get me natural and unrehearsed.
No problem.
Just as well, which can be good.
Okay, so let's start with the journey. Really, you spent years as the ultimate technical expert at the GMPC. You were the one in the engine room doing the heavy lifting. Now you sit in the Director General chair, right? For the women in our network who are stuck in execution mode, how did you mentally make that shift from being the expert who does the work to the authority who sets the rules? How does it feel to finally hold the pen?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with Zuri Circle. I appreciate the work you're doing in amplifying the voice of female leaders. And thank you very much for your patience in engaging with me and for the honor of choosing me to recognize me for the month of February. So I would say, you're asking how it's felt, like since having the appointment. It does feel, it felt very humbling and fulfilling to realize that the hard work that I've put in over the past 18 years have been recognized at a senior level, and that there is a confidence in me nationally from the president and his team to give me this role, very significant role. It is in terms of excitement, I tend to underreact to good news. So my friends have been telling me, this is huge, this is big. We're not seeing you jumping, you're not celebrating all over the place. And so what's going on? And to be honest, I am the type that is always looking ahead. So the moment I got the news, what it impressed on me is the weight of the responsibility.
Yes.
And that I have taken on a role for which I'm carrying on my shoulders the energy security dreams and aspirations of our nation. And I was already thinking ahead as to how do I make a success of this? How do I ensure? Because I remember one time reading somewhere where it said that for every woman or trailblazer in any industry, especially if you're a minority, but particularly if you're a woman as well, when a man fails, he fails alone. But when a woman fails, it becomes, for some reason, weird reason, a testament on the gender. You see one woman driver who misses a turn or who forgets the signal, and you say, oh, women can't drive. One who is, because we're flag bearers and there's not that many of us, one person who fails at something, it's seen as an indictment on the gender. So we approach roles with a much bigger sense of responsibility for that reason, because we realize that we're not just stepping into a role as ourselves, but
Mm.
also as a representative of
Yes.
basically a generation of basically a subset of society and agenda. So so on that side, it felt very fulfilling, but then also on the realization of the weight of the responsibility, it's very humbling. And I found it very grounding as well. It is fulfilling to realize that you have come to the apex of
Oh yeah.
yeah of the sector you are in. And of
Oh
course
yeah.
it is also fulfilling to realize that God has chosen you through the president and his team to realize that you're uniquely suited and positioned to carry on this great responsibility.
Absolutely. That was superb and nothing short of profound, really. You really struck the nerve when you were speaking, because it's how do I put it down? It kind of have this feeling, or I tend to feel a certain way when I realize that even the biases here in Nigeria are also transferred, I mean, you can need to see that you made a reference to driving, she makes a wrong turn, it's because she's a woman driving and all of that. And you have that here, but thank you. I love that perspective, which brings me to the reality of the room you walk into, right? The energy sector is notoriously tough. I know this because I currently, play in that space. It is heavily male dominated. A lot of women are told they need to rely on soft skills to survive. But you are a reservoir engineer, right? How do you use your deep technical mastery, not just to participate, but to actually command the room and silence the doubts on behalf of women?
So for me, it's been a continuous journey of upskilling. From day one, I have never allowed myself to be boxed into one specific usefulness, one specific role, one specific output. I've always believed in being an all-rounder and in upscaling as much as one can. And this is something that applies not only to the energy sector, but to all sectors. And you are right when you say that it is actually the easiest to be boxed when you're in a technical role. Just as being a female is often stereotyped, technical people are also often stereotyped as not being good quality managers, as not being good quality CEOs, as having a specific set of skills that's only suited to solve a particular problem. And so I do agree that soft skills are as important as the hard skills that we form, but I also believe in continuous improvement, in self-awareness, always taking stock of where you are, being acutely aware of your own weaknesses, because in as much as we all have strengths, be aware of your strengths, of course, so you can build on it, but also always take stock of yourself. Self-awareness is a tool that helps you to continually refine and upgrade the person you are and the circumstances you are in. So I would say, in my case, in as much of as my discipline has been scientific, been technical, I have always read beyond the scientific and technical. I make sure I'm well versed in geopolitics, in news, in history, in arts, because all of these things shape your world outlook. Being an avid reader, it shapes your insight, it shapes your outlook in ways that you are not even actively expecting it or drawing on it. Every skill that you upgrade, every new enlightening book that you read, every new enlightening conversation that you have with someone who is where you aspire to be, or someone who is your mentor figure, it develops and refines and hones you in ways that you do not fully appreciate at that time.
Absolutely.
So I would say always step out of your comfort zone, take stock of yourself, be very self-aware, realize your strengths so that you can build on them, but more specifically also be aware of the things you are not particularly good at so you can improve. And in that way, it becomes, and all the things that are outside of the specific job and task that you've been given, do not underestimate the importance of being well-read. For example, do not underestimate the importance of being curious. Be curious, be well-read, be self-aware, and like they say, the world becomes your oyster.
Oh yes, this is so powerful, so powerful. Okay, DJ, my final question for you, and this is for the soul, really. At Zuri Circle, we believe a refined woman is defined by her internal sovereignty. If you could look directly at the next generation of young African female leaders, I mean, the ones watching you right now, asking themselves, is this possible for me? What will be your ultimate mandate? What is your rally cry? What is your ultimate charge to them?
It is absolutely possible. It
Ah,
all starts with belief that something is possible, with self-belief. And then from self-belief, you go into preparation. You don't just believe it's possible and then sit down and wait for it to
oh,
fall on your lap.
wait.
But once you believe it's possible, then you do go the extra mile. You
Mm,
expend every energy and every effort into making sure that the possibility is built, not just
mhm,
wished into existence. So I would always say invest deeply in yourself, in your
mhm,
craft. Expertise gives you a sense of confidence that
mm,
no one can take away from you. When you have
mm,
built a certain expertise in something, no one can ever take that away from you. It stays with you. And most importantly, one of the things that in retrospect I realized I've done, but I didn't realize how important it was, is I did not wait for perfect conditions. A lot of us, we spend our lives waiting for that moment to shine. We spend our lives waiting, okay, when I'm the head of an institution, this is what I'll do. When I finally reach the apex of my sector of my career, this is what I'm going to do. But careers are actually built like humans, we're built in imperfect environments. What matters is the small tasks that we do every day, showing up
mm.
consistently, going beyond the finish line,
Yeah.
learning continuously and relentlessly, and understanding, of course, that leadership in all forms is ultimately about service. It's not about
Mm,
status, about power for power's sake. It's about responsibility. It's about a
mm,
sense of service. And when you have that, then it just sort of propels you forward. You realize
mm,
that you're continuously upgrading yourself, you're continuously improving yourself, and that also representation is not just symbolic, but it's also deeply moves and touches others. I did not know about Zuri Circle. By my representation, I have been brought into a circle of influential women, of responsible women who are all about
mm,
service, who are all about responsibility. So I always say pursue excellence, not just for yourself, but because your presence also expands others. When you stand before someone, the person sees, oh, this is something I can be. And it gives them a sort of confidence. It gives them the permission. It gives them the confidence also to be and even exceed what you are. I always, my favorite line to anyone who tells me, I wish I can grow up to be like you or you're my role model, is believe you are going to exceed me. I do not want to be the standard. I just
yeah.
want to be I don't hope to be the blueprint or the standard. I actually just hope to be a minor part of something greater that is
Mm,
beyond. I pray for everyone, and I hope and wish for everyone who comes into contact with me to get to a point where you even exceed me. And that to me is all about, again, service, of being one example amongst many that ultimately grow to show a new way of doing things, to show a more excellent way than what you find.
mm. Director General Cany, that was absolute magic. Thank you for sharing your fire with us today. I know you have a nation's energy sector to run, so I'll let you go. Far too kind, Cany. Thank you. On behalf of thousands of female founders, executives, and visionaries who make up the Zuri Circle ecosystem across Africa, we send you this message, not simply as a congratulation, but as a profound validation of your journey. For generations, women in critical infrastructure have been quietly advised to soften their edges. I know this because I have lived
Yes, I've
experiences,
always
right?
said, if you look at my,
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
whether you're on my Instagram. I think one of my last posts, I haven't, sometimes I post in highlights, not so often, but one of my last main posts was, you will always be too loud for someone, too strong, too fat, too
Oh, yeah.
tall, too everything, but do not soften your edges or lose your edge for anyone, you
Oh,
know.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the physical embodiment of what we call the sovereign authority, and I mentioned it, and you're proving to the world that a woman does not need to dilute her intellect, her power, or her authentic self to command the apex of leadership. By walking into that boardroom and taking the gavel, you have turned the glass ceiling into a floor. Somebody was asking me, I said, what glass ceiling? Are they really glass ceilings for us? So, you have turned the glass ceiling into a floor for every young African girl watching today. As our favorite standard bearer, we want you to know this. You never walk into this high stakes negotiation alone. When you sit across the international investors, you carry the collective backing, the profound pride, and the fierce, unwavering support of a continent of refined women who actually are backing you and are cheering you on. We see the weight of the mandate you carry. We honor the sacrifices it took to get here. Trust me, I know it's a long walk, and we are fiercely rooting for your absolute success. Thank you for refusing to be anything less than formidable. Thank you for being the blueprint.